time, the standard needs to be set. When we talk about standards of you're going to be pressed, you're going to grow, you're going to elevate, but you're going to be pressed. And but the thing is, you're not pressing alone.
Yeah.
Pressing together.
Well,
it's about connection, right?
I make a lot of comparisons to military tactics and
Yeah.
everything else. And maybe it's just me.
No, it's
but
good,
like
though.
when you go into any other branches of the military, first thing they do, and actually they're trying to get away from this. I don't know why. They scream at you.
Yeah,
And
they do, yeah.
it's like you get
I've
off the
seen
bus
that.
and they're like, "Get over there!" They just scream at you for like the whole time. And get you used to being under pressure.
Yeah.
Because they want to let you know you're about to do something and it's going to be hard. Because what you're about to do is important.
Yeah.
So that this is not anything near that.
No,
but
But it's the concept.
having an understanding that you're not necessarily getting into this because it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows is kind of an important concept.
Yeah, it's-
because when people get into the ministry, a lot of times they get into this whole idea that it's going to be somehow easy and nice, and it's never turns out that way.
It can be
ever.
rewarding, but
It's rewarding.
It
is.
It should be challenging because you're going against the grain.
Yes.
You're going against the way
Tell me the difference between challenging and difficult.
I'm gonna go, or do you want me to go?
You go.
Okay,
You
so
go.
here's what I think.
Okay.
The difference. I think the difference between challenging and difficult is this. Challenging is when you are given the tools and ability to achieve. Difficult is when you're tasked with it but not given the tools and the ability. I think that, I mean, just from my experience, throughout 30 some years that I've been here in this world, it can feel empowering to be given a challenge, but given all the tools and the assets to get it done, because then it looks hopeful. But when someone gives you a task and says, "I don't know how you're going to do it, just figure it out," well, you didn't help me set that up. Like, I don't know what I'm doing in this. What, do I have a budget? Do I have is there a strategy? Like, what's the goal of this project or this thing? Like, what's the why behind this? But if someone can give you the why, they can give you the tools, they can give you the budget, they can give you the timeline. Okay, well, you know what? I think I got everything I need to do this. Can I bring some more people in on this project too? Yeah, bring 4 or 5 people in to help on this. And by the way, here's who I think some suggestions are. You can pick, but I think these are good people too. When you do that, you honor someone, because it's not like if I send, I don't know, you talk about like army analogies, I talk about kid analogies. If I send Carly with nothing but a butter knife out into the forest, and I tell her, go live, go survive, she's not gonna make it.
No.
Likely she won't. I mean, she could achieve great things, and then I go out in the woods one day and she's somehow built a fort, and she's made friends with all the animals, and she found a cow somewhere, and
You did give her something.
I gave her one thing, but I didn't appropriately equip her. In my mind, maybe that thing was. Now, see what happens. This is what I think. This is just me. I don't have necessarily like scripture to back this up, but like I think in organizations, what happens sometimes is they're giving out a bunch of butter knives to their employees, and some of these employees are taking a butter knife and they're creating an entire fort and ecosystem with a butter knife, and they're like, "Good job! You did great on that. You took that butter knife and you made all this." What if you had given that person an entire stock of a backpack full of plants to plant, and giving them a book that said, these are the survival techniques, and by the way, here's a map of where we're going to drop you, and this is where the water and the deer are, and you can survive and thrive. Instead of just building a fort, they build an entire city, and then people come and they install and live and become part of the community. The problem is we're giving a bunch of people butter knives.
Because it worked that one time.
And we're taking someone who is excellent, giving them not enough tools. They're accomplishing way more than they should have, but then we look down on everybody else because we're giving out butter knives. I'm like, why didn't you do it like them? Well, you gave someone who was average a butter knife, and give someone who's excellent a butter knife, they're going to do different things. But if you give somebody that's average a backpack and equip them with everything that they could possibly need, they'll look excellent. And then all of a sudden, excellence is leading excellence, and it creates this environment. It's unstoppable.
Write this down. No, I want you to write this word down because I don't want to forget it.
Okay. I got pumped up on that one. For
That's all right.
No,
I want
it's
you to write down the word potential.
Potential.
Okay. Remind me to go back to that. Okay.
what's the difference between challenging and difficult?
Yeah.
Well, just when I hear the two different words, I mean, like Marcus's thing was great. So I'm trying to really counter what I was thinking about. This.
Sorry,
I went in
I
a
didn't-
totally different. I went with a totally
No,
different.
no, I want to hear it though.
What was I thinking exactly? So the difference between when I hear the words challenging and difficult, I think about the end result, the reward. When I think of difficult, I think of like challenging and difficult to me. It's like task is the same, reward is different. When I hear difficult, I think of like climbing a hill or playing football or something equally, like you're gonna play football or climb a hill. 10 games or climb the hill. At the top of the hill or whatever, or at the end of the season, you're gonna be just as exhausted and beat up. But at the end of the 10 games or at the top of the hill, there's something you wanted to get to. There's a treasure, or at the end of the 10 games you got to go to the playoffs, or or at the end of 10 games you didn't. Difficult is like me. I got to win 2 games all of high school. My senior year, it was like, wow, that was great. I got to play in 1 winning game.
You were above average for the rest of the school.
But it was like, that's difficult. Challenging is doing that same,
Write down the word why.
just doing that same exact hill, that same exact 10 games, but having the ability, the potential to actually be able to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same level of effort you're gonna have to put into it, but actually being able to achieve something is challenging. That's the only difference in my mind when I hear both.
I think that's really good because
There's no hope in one, but there is hope in the other.
part of what I think you're saying, and you can correct me if you think I'm off base, but like part of it is being communicated. What will this achieve?
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're blindly chasing after single day victories with no finished, you're just trying to be good at it and you don't know why. It's really hard to stay driven.
Yeah.
And that's difficult because no one that's leading you has said, this is where we want to reach, and if we reach here, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Pizza party doesn't do it. A pizza party doesn't do it half the time. But
just in my own head, it's like I will take and I will do either one 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But if I take even just in my own self, and when I say today is not going to be a difficult day, today is going to be a challenge day, even if the people above me can't tell me why we're doing a thing, I say screw it. I'm going to take today as a challenge day. I am going to do even harder. I take a personal responsibility to take the hill with it in the mentality of a challenge. It's hard, but you can take the personal responsibility to take the hill or whatever. Do the thing that's it's not a difficulty.
It's a
challenge thing. Yeah, it's a you internalize it. If the people around you aren't doing excellence, you become the excellent one.
Yeah.
Because the guy who's supposedly in charge he's not going to make it up the hill. Mm-hmm. You are going to make it up the hill, and you're going to be the one in charge.
It's a perspective.
You have to take that
perspective. I think that's what Josiah's really hitting on too. Is that one of the main differences between if something's challenging or if it's difficult is a perspective. Right?
It's what's like you started talking about butter knives in the woods.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Your mental attitude about your situation is more important than your gear.
Yeah.
Because a guy with a backpack with a woe is me attitude will not survive 5 minutes.
That's a good point.
But a guy with nothing in his hands will, I mean, no butter knife, no nothing, will create a Bronze Age.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a guy go in the woods with nothing in his hands and create a brick kiln and take iron out of a riverbed and make an iron knife in a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the right mentality.
So I agree with both of you on all fronts.
Like that.
I have Marcus right
Hey,
now.
sit back down here, Captain.
I'm thinking.
You're probably out of the camera view.
I'm sorry, everybody. Anyway, I wrote down several words, right, as I'm sitting and listening to both of you. The word potential, and the word why, and the word personal, and then perspective, right? And so when I think about all of that, Jesus, after he got done with the wedding at Cana of Galilee, right? When Jesus at the wedding of Cana of Galilee did that notable miracle, then he's going about from place to place looking for people to do what? Well, he would go out and he would say to Peter, "Hey, come follow me." And he would say, it would be almost like saying, "Well, why?" In my mind, I'm thinking he would say, why am I going to come follow you? What, just because you made a bunch of fish come up in my net? Why? He says this, he says, "I will make you fishers of men."
Yeah.
Wow, okay, so there's the why, right? Jesus knew that they had potential, each one that he asked, right? He also knew they had perspective, right? What was the other P?
Well, Joe made a good point. We had a Y in there, but he said if you change it to purpose, it's all P.
Okay.
So we got potential, purpose, personal,
So you could just
perspective.
pick, and then
So
just
there we
make
go.
yeah,
There we go.
to be easy to remember.
So Jesus knew all of these things about the men that he was gathering, right?
He had perspective to see them, to see where they were at, and what they. Because he had perspective to see the potential. He had the purpose on the inside of him, and he was personal enough to get involved in their life. I don't know. Is that kind
Yeah,
of?
but that's the whole idea. Everything you said, both of you said, it ties to all four of those particular words.
Yeah. The difference between challenging and different. That's cool, man. We're gonna have to preach on that sometime.
Yeah.
That's really good.